It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my review of the new SH Figuarts Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha. I feel like I said these words exactly a year ago and maybe even used the same audio for the opening. We are doing essentially the opposite of what we had before. This is the Naruto Uzumaki from Part 1, or the original Naruto anime, and Sasuke Uchiha from Part 1, or the original Naruto anime. We had the Shippuden versions. I reviewed them, reviewed Sakura, reviewed Kakashi. I'm still going with this line because I love it. These figures are really good, and these were never made in the original SH Figuarts line before they brought it back recently, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, first up we got Naruto Uzumaki, the #1 most unpredictable ninja. You can see there, he looks pretty good. I'll compare him to the Bandai action figure that was released recently in that $10 Evolution figure line. Shot of Naruto there. Nice shot of him on the spine here. On the back, you've got your pictures, Rasengan faces, all kinds of good stuff. And then we've got Sasuke Uchiha, ninja prodigy of the Uchiha clan Bloodline. Where you can see he's there. He's in the blue costume. Would love to see the black costume from the tuning exams show up at some point. There he is on the spine. Once again, Sasuke was a little bit more expensive than Naruto, but he does come with more accessories. So, you know, that's how it works out. But yeah, we're going to take a look at Naruto first, then Sasuke. We'll compare him to the Shippuden versions and all that good stuff, so let's begin. So here he is, the #1 knuckle-headed ninja. It's really cool to get Naruto in this design because I think for a lot of us Naruto fans that were there since the beginning, there is a certain level of nostalgia for the original Part 1 designs. For me especially, because I have not finished Shippuden, I will admit it. You know, I'm collecting the Figuarts line. I am almost halfway through Shippuden. I have decided I am going to finish it. It's just a lot of episodes. For me, I watched the show when it was airing on Cartoon Network, and then when it switched to Disney XD, I lost track of the show because the censorship and editing on the Disney XD broadcast of Shippuden made it impossible to watch for me, especially because I had been reading the manga. So, you know, I'm going to finish this, but it's going to take me a little while. The Figuarts, though, are approaching stuff from the end of Shippuden, with some of the upcoming releases, so I will be finishing Shippuden sooner than later, so that way I still am knowledgeable when bringing you figure reviews. I don't want to be like, here's a figure and I don't know anything about it. If I'm reviewing it, I know about it, and I do know about this look for Naruto. Very classic, the bright orange, the blue, the really high collar, the kunai holder on the leg, the sandals, of course, the rolled up pant legs, the rolled up sleeves, the whatever this was supposed to be. I know it was the spiral thing. I just never really got what the thing down here was, except until I read the art book, because it's not really obvious from it, but there was this thing that he would draw on people's faces, and that was like his pin to do that. That's why that's something he didn't have later on. He's also got the little you know, shuriken pouch on his back hip. What's really interesting is the head design, because there was a lot of range of movement in the head on the Shippuden version of Naruto. This one's a lot more restrictive. So while you can still look up pretty good, when you go to turn it, the hair is attached to the back of the neck. So you can only get about that much left and that much right. You can get a little bit down, and then, yeah, you can get a lot back, but you can't actually get left and right as much as I thought you could. And it's because that hair is just blocking his ears, basically. And then he's got, you know, a lot of tilt. But it's just really interesting. I do think the face turned out good. I think it's a little less... Oh, it's fallen out a little bit. It's a little less wonky than the Shippuden one, I think, in a lot of ways. But it does look nice. They did get the little spiral symbol on the back. Shoulder-wise, he's got the ball-jointed shoulders. They move forward, they move back, all that. Bicep swivel, double-jointed elbow. He's got the triple-jointed wrist going on, which is nice. The 3 torso joint actions. So you got, you know, your rotation, your side-to-side, and then your forward and back crunch. Which all works pretty good. The waist here floats. You got ball jointed shuriken pouch, which is pretty nice. Hips that move out, hips that move forward, hips that don't move his back as far. A thigh swivel, double jointed knee, not a double jointed elbow. He's got a rotation here, and then an actual ball joint at the blue part, and then also a left and right swivel plus a forward and back, as well as a toe joint. So he's pretty dang articulated, and that's pretty awesome. But what good is articulation without accessories? So this is his default face, kind of a nice neutral expression. He's got the pleasant expression there. If you do want to swap the faces, you can do this 2 ways. You can reach all the way up and then pull the face down, just kind of like grab the ears and pull down on it. But it usually just ends up popping the whole back of the head off once again because of the hair. So I would recommend just popping the head off, then swapping his faces. So he's got this extra smiling head with the smiling teeth. It looks a little weird at some angles. It definitely looks better from a distance and up close. He also has this extra hand, which you can see is for adjusting his headband. He did that a lot in part 1. He was kind of not even, realizing how he actually made it as a ninja, and so he kind of constantly touches the headband. So it's a really cool kind of pair of accessories there. He has a high expressive comedy face, which I think is great. I love this inclusion because it's a very iconic thing to a lot of shonen anime, but specifically Naruto does have some great expressiveness. Plus he has these open hands that I think pair well with this face as any other poses. And then he's got a kind of shouting face. I think he's doing more of a jutsu type pose. So of course we're doing the shadow clone jutsu there, but you can kind of see him, he's yelling. It's pretty cool. It's like he's intense, but he's not overly intense. I think it works really, really well for a lot of poses. He also does come with a kunai knife and a couple he has a set of hands that can hold this. What's interesting to note is to get the knife in his hand, you actually do need to pull the end off of it. The end is not keyed specific. You can just put it in and rotate, but once you got it in there, it looks good. I also did want to highlight, if I can balance him out here, he does pose pretty good at a dramatic angle like that, which is pretty awesome. And of course he comes with the Rasengan, which you can see plugged straight into this hand specifically, which is pretty cool. Now this hand has perplexed me a little bit. It does remind me of the hand position that Naruto's Shadow Clone does to charge up and create the Rasengan. So it seemed like that would be, if you want to have two Narutos, one doing the Rasengan, creating it, and then the other one to throw it. But there's only one of these. There's not like an opposite pair, which I thought there would be. So it's kind of a weird inclusion, just having a single one. But if you have an idea of what else it could be used for, let me know in the comments. So then lastly, we have a face and a set of hands for Naruto's initial Jinchuriki form. This, is basically just claws, some extra power, the crazy eyes, and the whiskers and the teeth. It is not a full tail beast form. Naruto has forms from 1 tail up to 9 tails because that is how a 9-tailed fox works. But this is kind of the initial form. It debuted pretty early on during the Land of Waves arc, I believe. That was kind of like his first encounter with the 9 tails chakra. So it's really cool to see it represented in this figure, since all he needed to do was do 2 extra hands and a face. Alright, size-wise, here's Figuarts Naruto with the Bandai Evolution figure. This is a $10, like 5-inch figure. I was using this as my Kid Naruto sub-in. Clearly the Figuarts is, a lot more accurate. The blues are brighter and everything. This is more like Shippuden colors almost. For a $10 figure, this guy's pretty solid. And then to go alongside that, of course, we have the SH Figuarts Part 2 / Shippuden Naruto, who you can see is a lot taller. Now keep in mind this next segment isn't a major criticism of the figure, but he does look a little tall when you compare it to Kishimoto's artwork when he had the 2 Narutos stand next to each other. The younger Naruto was about a head shorter than the older Naruto, and so they're about there. They're very, very close, but the younger Naruto Figuart does skew just a tad bit taller than he probably should. But maybe we could chalk that up to growth spurts later in the series, and this is supposed to be beginning of the series, and this is the midpoint. Whatever it is, that's just my comparison for now. So overall, this is a pretty solid figure. I think that as a younger Naruto Figuart, there's really not many ways to make him better. I think the biggest problem is the head joint. It feels like the neck should be able to move to counteract the actual hair being attached to it, but it doesn't seem to want to move on mine. I've tried a few tricks to see if it would loosen up. It just seems like a solid piece. So let me know if you have this figure and you have that same exact issue. Other than that, he's a little bit more restricted in the articulation, but he does have more accessories than his older counterpart, so I think it's a good figure overall. But if you are only Shippuden, then this is not really going to be something you need, but if you're a general Naruto collector, it's definitely a good addition to the collection. So here is Sasuke. This is an interesting figure, not just design-wise, because it's pretty much just like here, early Sasuke. He's got that serious, dour expression on his face because my whole family's dead, and he's got the crazy hairstyle and the blue. It's interesting how they engineered this figure to work. Something you may notice already: the leg, the actual shorts are separate pieces, because the legs are actually sculpted all the way up the pant leg. And that, I think, was because in order to have his knees properly work, this actually has to slide and move in places. So it's really interesting. It's also on a ball joint inside there. So he's got like a bunch of extra movement the others don't have, which I think is kind of fascinating. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool that like they molded those separate so that way it doesn't get in the way. And then the same thing with like the actual torso here. You can see there is actually a torso under there, like underneath the shirt piece, which is really interesting. So a lot more overlay stuff went into him. You got the Uchiha clan symbol on the back. He's of course got the shuriken pouch, the kunai holster, and down to his legs and his feet. I also never talk about this, but they really texture out the soles of the shoes, which is really cool. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting design. Now the cool part is the articulation is still intact. He can look all the way up, he can look all the way down, he can look left and right, and his actual extra hair doesn't impede his neck. Like his neck also probably can turn if you can get in there far enough, but the collar does dance around so it doesn't get in the way. Shoulders that, you know, rotate on a ball joint, move forward and back. He's got kind of the same thing that happened in my Angelomon, where if you pull out the arm too far, you can't get the little like cover back in, but it actually stays in place, unlike the Angelomon Figuart. Elbows double bend, but get a little blocked by the sleeve, but not too bad. Triple jointed wrists. He's got the upper torso movement. He's got the lower torso movement, side to side, left, right, all that. The articulating pouch in the back. Hips move out, forward, back a little bit further than Naruto's. Thigh swivel, like I said, that inner ball joint. Double jointed knee. See, it doesn't look too weird because this doesn't stay in place. It slides. I think this is a smart design to keep the aesthetics. Forward, back, left, right, toe joint, but then also an additional ball joint at the top there. So pretty articulated overall, but of course he's got to have some accessories for that. So here's his default face, kind of a stern look. You do need to remove the head. Hey, I guess that answers the question if the neck is separate. So now that we learned that the neck is a ball joint, you want to pop the top part of the head from there. That's where it's designed to go, and then you can slide his face out from here and swap it to the other options. So his first alternate face is this cocky smile, which I think is just very appropriate for early Sasuke. And he's got this hand that's like gesturing you to come fight him, and he has a second one for the opposite hand as well. His one Sharingan eyes face also is his kind of rage expression or his jutsu expression. Here we have his clasped hands, which do peg into both hands, which is pretty cool. It's not a separate piece in the middle, but actually one piece that connects in two places. But yeah, I think it's a good expression on him as well. He was kind of always using the Sharingan only when he was rageful at that time anyways. Here's his overly dramatic comedic face. Now we get into what is the highlight, I think, of this figure, is the other accessories. So he's got a kunai knife, and he's got two hands to hold it with, this side or this side. He also comes with the Demon Wind Shuriken, something I think that should have stuck around more than it did. It's just such a cool design. It's this gigantic shuriken. It folds out into 4 blades in the show. This is just one solid piece here. And he actually used a combo attack with Naruto in order to help take down Zabuza, who had captured Kakashi. So it's an iconic moment from early in the series, and I'm glad they included it here. Plus, there's multiple posing options, from holding it like he was to throwing it like he is here. Naturally, he also does come with a Chidori effect. This plugs straight in as if it was a hand, which is pretty cool. Plus, he comes with 2 of these very Chidori-specific hands for the opposite hand, and there is a matching hand for this hand, and then this hand can also be plugged onto that hand. I said hand too many times, didn't I? And then lastly, he comes with the fireball effect. What's cool is we get a unique head, which is for blowing the fireball. We get the unique hand for the hand sign, and the fireball doesn't have to rely on being in his hand because it comes with its own dedicated stand that has a ball joint on top, so you can pose the fireball to your needs. This is a very common technique for Sasuke to use early in the series. I don't think so much later on, so it's a nice inclusion. Overall, the accessories on this guy are fantastic. So, size-wise, of course, we got to compare Sasuke to Sasuke. He didn't grow so much between parts, so you can see that older Sasuke is a little bit taller. And then, of course, here he is with the younger Naruto. And you can see that he is a little bit taller than Naruto. And yes, I'm going to bring out another art book. So we can see here that Kishimoto drew Sasuke to be just a little bit taller than Naruto, and the Figuarts do reflect that. I think the scale is actually pretty solid for these two. Plus, they scale well with Kakashi, who doubles as a Part 1 and Part 2, or original Naruto, and Shippuden Figuart, so they look nice together. So overall, Sasuke is a good figure, not just because he's a well-structured figure, because he comes with all of this on top of the hands and faces. This is a lot of options. This is a lot of out-of-the-box poses that are pretty simple to go, oh, hey, I can do it as this, 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 or this, with a single figure, and I think that's pretty awesome. So yeah, if you're looking between the two of them, I'd say Sasuke is almost the better bet just because of his accessory count. Honestly, both Naruto and Sasuke are good additions to the SH Figuarts collection, and I'm pretty darn happy with them. I got mine from Japanese imports. Naruto did come out a month before Sasuke, so keep an eye out on the US side for when these show up, or in any other regions that may be applicable. They are just really nice figures, and I can honestly say that for the whole Naruto Figuarts line so far. Now, of course, there are more releases coming up. The next retail release will be Orochimaru, which doubles as a Part 1 and Part 2 figure. Then we have Obito Uchiha after that. There is a Bandai exclusive Naruto Kurama Link Mode figure, which will be coming out in March of next year. And then there was the recent event exclusive Jiraiya, which is the same mold as the previous Figuarts Jiraiya, but with new faces to put them more in line with these figures. And I'm hoping to be able to get one of those because usually Bandai puts up their event exclusives after they finish touring them around to shows. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this line, and the fact that the only exclusive figure so far is the Jiraiya redo, as well as the Kurama Link Mode figure, is not too bad. Most of the unique characters are retail, and it makes this line very easy to collect. So if you are a Naruto fan, I do recommend these, and I'll continue to review these, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Hit the like button if you did enjoy this. Leave a comment down below, tell me anything I missed or anything you're looking forward to, and tell me which Naruto figure art that hasn't been made that you still want to see. I'm pulling for Rock Lee at this point. I would love to see a Rock Lee in this new line, because this new articulation system is going to be so good for him. Also, be sure to check out my live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where I talk about Naruto figure art news as it pops up. Also, check out my social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Soundout12, as long as that is still applicable. Also, be sure to find my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643, and you can find HeroClub at hero-club.com for anime news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.